Thanks everyone for joining today. So, in today's live stream, we wanted to double down on DinoAI tooling and DinoAI model control protocol servers. Now, what are these and why we are doing this? Now, one of the key features of DinoAI as it stands today is being able to provide context for data work. Now, one part of that context for data work is your warehouse. So, essentially, the table schemas, comments, documentation that is embedded within your data warehouse. Now, with that in place, you are able to do a lot of SQL work. But SQL work or data work also has lots of other contexts that are distributed across various softwares, various applications, various mediums. And in today's live stream, we are bringing a subset of those mediums as context that you can use as part of your data work. So, what does that mean? And let's say you are building a data model, but your requirements are in a PDF, or you are trying to solve, build, or address an ad hoc request, and the request is in Jira, and so on and so forth. Or you are trying to get understanding of a new feature in dbt, but that information is sitting in the web. Now, what you'll see in today's demonstration or today's live stream is that we are able to tailor the way the AI experience works in the code IDE by giving DinoAI additional context outside of your warehouse. So this would mean that now you are able to bring information that would previously be in other tools and softwares. And that means the AI functionality now has broader knowledge and is able to produce even more hyper relevant outcomes that we think is going to significantly accelerate the development experience. Now, model control protocols are like USB-Cs. People call it like the USB-C stick. So it is an unified specification through which you can bring various different information into your AI context. Now, within the Paradigm Code ID, we already have inbuilt MCPs around the warehouse, but we are also adding more MCPs inbuilt so that from a developer perspective, from an analytics engineer perspective, there is literally very minimal setup for you to do, and which means that you are able to get up and running much faster without having to manage infrastructure or having to manage tooling, etc. When we started Paradigm and how we have always built Paradigm, it's about the ease of use. It's about removing friction when it comes to development and infrastructure work. So we always want to give our end users a platform like the Mac OS for analytics. You open, go into DinoAI, go into the code ID, you have a system waiting for you to be leveraged to its maximum so that you can get your day-to-day work done. Now, one of the interesting challenges we have found in the process is that AI is very good at producing relevant outcome when you give it the right context. And as you'll see in the live stream, Fabio is going to use a very real production scenario where you will go from running a data pipeline within Paradigm to actually fixing it as you go along. Or you will learn a new way of doing things by leveraging what is available by doing web search. And I'll leave Fabio with another one last surprise functionality that we've also baked into the application that is going to make your DinoAI experience even more awesome. So I'm going to stop there. And Fabio, the show is all yours.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Costa. Super excited and great to see you all here. What I want to share today, as Costa mentioned, is a real world scenario where things happen and they have to be fixed. So pipeline can fail, we have errors. So how do we go about that? And when we talk about external context, additional information we can provide to our agent, one of the tools that we started building on was around Jira, right? Like a source of truth for a lot of logging of issues and so on. I'll go start with Bolt this time. So Bolt is our orchestrator. I'll go to my daily run and I can see that there is one failure or one error. I can look at the console logs. So one thing that Paradigm support is the ability to fire webhook events. so that we can create Jira ticket on the back of that. So if I go to Jira now, I can see that I have a Jira ticket created for my failed run. I have a bunch of metadata related to it. And the next thing up, I'm going to do that, okay, we are logging a ticket, we are logging an issue, then something fails. The next thing up for me is how do we go about and fix it, right? In this case, it's fixing a bug, it could be a new feature, or it could be a bunch of things. So I'll go back to the Paradime right now, I'll go back to the editors. In this scenario now, what I want to do, if you touched my use case here, is I want to use the DinoAI agent to help me fix or debug this issue or the pipeline that we just seen fail. So a couple of things happen. So the first thing now, I have this option here with tools. I can select Jira as a tool, and I can paste my first prompt. I want to say, hey, I have a production run that failed this morning. Details are in this Jira ticket. Can you help me resolve it? There are a combination of two things happen. So the first thing is we are explicitly telling the agent now some additional tools we want the agent to use to resolve my issues. And also I'm providing a Jira ticket ID or issue ID. You can provide that through just copy and paste URL as I'm doing now, or we can provide the exact Jira issue keys. So I can go ahead and press enter, and let's see what happens. A couple of things. We'll be looking at, first of all, our new tool integration with Jira, meaning that the agent is asking me to access the Jira ticket, and I can accept this. And as a result, we're going to start bringing more context from Jira itself to start defining what the issue is, right? One thing I'm saying here right away is that it will try and access the Jira ticket for me, and it will go about how to fetching metadata from the Jira ticket. And as a result of that, we'll go through this workflow where the agent will try and fix whatever problem I have. It's finding some issues and problem with my run. And the first thing we have to do is I'm on the main branch, so I need to check out the branch and start working on like a fresh state, right? It's now exposing the new tool that we're launching in Paradime, which is a terminal tool. So what this means is now the agent or DinoAI is able to suggest commands, whether those are git command or whether those are a dbt command, and actually run these things for us. So the first thing it's doing now is actually checking which branch I'm currently on. Okay, it's finding out that I'm currently on the main branch here. And now, based on my rules, we want branches to be created using the Jira ID issue key. So we keep track of changes that we make to a code base. It's also going ahead and suggesting a branch name. So it's now at the end suggesting the branch name and the command to create a branch so that we can start doing our work. Now, the next thing up is start looking at what needs to be fixed, right? It's finding now, based on the issue that we had, and there was an incorrect identifier here, and a couple of problems with my model there. So it's actually going here, and I'm just going to show here, finding out what is the actual problem with the model, finding out a way to suggest and fix the model as a result of that. So what I'm expecting now is the agent will autonomously go and find one by one all the models and test them also as a result. So that, again, is suggesting now another command here, which is, okay, let's try and run this model. Let's see if this is fixed now. Okay, and again, we'll move forward. So it's literally guiding me through all the different steps to fix the problem that I had in place, right? It's also now say, okay, we're done with these changes now. Let's go and commit these changes as well. So I can go ahead and click on accept here to make these changes and commit them. So you see how I've been able to go through this step by step and fix my production pipeline issues, right? And it's also providing now a summary of what are the issues and what the agent ultimately went on about and fixes. So the next thing we want to do is pushing these changes, right? So we want to go ahead and so let's do a git push here. I can just go, okay, this is great. New push my changes. So again, really guiding us through what are the select different steps as part of our lifecycle. And again, particularly if somebody is new to Git, this will help a lot in streamlining the process of working with Git workflows in general as well. So again, run the command for us, went on, and it was like, hey, you also want to go ahead and create a merge request as well. So I'll skip that for now, and I want to cover a couple more use cases. So what we covered so far is how we can use the Jira tool or the Jira integration to fetch additional metadata into our DinoAI chat panel right away, so that we can inform the DinoAI agent to fix stuff for us, to potentially create dbt pipeline, creating models. Really, it's all up to us and what, of course, is inside the Jira ticket for us to extend the context that is available to us. So that was one. And Also, we cover how the agent is able now to understand branches, to suggest creating branches for us, running dbt command, all these things that, again, I didn't have to touch any of those things myself. So I was quite fully guided by the agent. The next thing that I want to walk you through now is another agent, actually another integration that we are very excited about it. So if we put this into context as LLM have certain degree of knowledge, and of course they train over a certain amount of information on the web, but sometimes we want to have the ability to fetch and understand more what is available today on the browser. We want to actually work almost with a compiler that can help us understand concept. And to do that, it's very important that we have a live connection to the browser itself. We can use the agent to fetch additional information and help us getting through what we're currently working on. So I'm going to click here and start a new chat first. And now I'm going to paste my new query I have, right? So I want to learn about this unit test, which is a new concept, something relatively recent within DBT itself. And I want to get some more intel and information on how this works. Now, within our tools, we have a new option, which is Perplexity Web Search. So we now integrate Perplexity within DinoAI, so that not only you use Claude as an integration for our lab, but actually we can make Perplexity search, AI searches, so that as a result, we can actually get live information, what is currently available. We can get use cases from Google searches and summaries on how things work in general. So I can go ahead and press enter. What will happen now is, as a result, we will be using the Perplexity integration to generate a query. And on the back of this query, what we're going to get is a set of references that we can look up for as well. So again, this is now live. It's not relying on the LLM to come up with its own idea, but this is actually giving us references to real use cases. So it's going to come up with a bunch of links to the DBT help docs, other use cases, an example of how unit test works. So I can actually go here and click on any of those reference links to see the full form documentation of unit tests, for instance, or data tests and schema tests. I can watch videos, for example. So all these things that can inform me to understand better how I can work with DBT. And of course, this use case is about DBT unit tests, but you can technically use this for anything like. So it becomes your companion completely end-to-end, not only to generate code anymore. It also came up with a bunch of examples that I can follow through here about unit tests. What are the key components? How do they work? And so on and so forth. What is also exciting about this now is that, let's say, we can marry and merge the experience of using Perplexity with existing tool that we have as part of Paradime, right? So let's suppose that I'm happy with my learning, I'm comfortable that, yeah, unit test is something I want to implement now within Paradime. What I can actually do here is I can add another prompt. Okay, let's add unit test for this model, right? So I can go here, use our context to define a file, a set of files, a set of SQL model that I want to work with to generate more code, right? So I can go ahead and press enter again. And now what I'm expecting is that our agent is going to go and understand more about my project, more about my model, have a real life example in place about unit tests as well to work with, so that as a result, I can start working with unit tests, which is a pretty new concept, and I can actually work alongside the agent with this. Let's see what the agent is going to come up with right now. Might take a few more seconds to generate the YAML file for us. And again, I can actually bring into my workflow additional relevant, up-to-date information with references that I can consult at any point in time as part of my development lifecycle I have. So I think this is super exciting for us to partner with Perplexity to provide this additional layer of knowledge to our agent. And we see a lot of value into being able to use such functionality within the Paradime interface. Again, you can actually consult and be a companion. Think about code reviews, bringing additional information back into Paradime from potentially Medium post, right? Nothing stops us to bring that in. This is from Perplexity itself. And we can see here now we have our new unit test file written in YAML, following the standard for unit test in DBT, something very specific to DBT. It came up with its own set of assumption on the data that it's testing. And here is where we can bring more, right? We could have a PDF that we can pass as additional context that has examples of what our business logic are, or we could actually build another Jira ticket that maybe has more detailed information around what kind of unit tests and what kind of edge cases that we want to test for. And again, super simple. I can go ahead, click on accept, and here we go. We get a bunch of unit tests now applied there as well. Yeah, I'm really, really excited about Perplexity integration. I think it's super powerful and it opens up a lot of use cases. The last thing is generically about web search. Perplexity uses the Perplexity API, adds an additional layer of knowledge and understanding of what's available in the browser. But we also find out that a lot of time our users, they're using our chat to ask things about our help docs, okay? Which is very interesting. So they use DinoAI not only to build things within DBT and Paradime, but actually to ask about help docs and information about how to set things up in Paradime itself, which I think it's super fun. So what we build separately is an additional tool called web search, okay? And here, again, I can actually ask anything I like pretty much. So let's say in Paradime, we have this feature called column level lineage. So I want to know how I can set this up for me. So I can go ahead and use the web search again here. And now this is going to fetch a bunch of relevant documentation from Paradime itself, and effectively from the browser in general, on how I can set up column level lineage, what use cases are there. So really, again, helping me in my day to extend the capability of my repository and my DBT project as a whole. I can see, okay, we have data mesh set up for Paradime, column level lineage documentation, how does it work with Looker, like all these different type of information that probably we will not want to spend time on reading through detailed help docs, but we can get like a nice summary with all the details we need to set up an additional CI in Paradime itself. And then if I want to, I can actually go ahead and click on this link to go to more detailed information about use cases and how does it work and how to get this great PR comment as part of our process to understand what are the changes that can be impacting my tools as part of my PR reviews. Yeah, super excited about these use cases. I'm sure that we uncover more as we go along, but we see by merging your code base, your repository, your data warehouse context with the places where we track our work, which is Jira, we are actually now building this end-to-end lifecycle. I can actually create Jira ticket from our webhook integration that uses Jira ticket details as part of my DinoAI agent experience and actually fix my code in a pretty automated fashion. Yeah, that's all for demo. We have a few minutes. We're happy to chat more about what's possible and if anyone has questions.